Speak Up English, the key to success.
I've been thinking about how important it is to practice speaking English regularly. It's the best way to improve, don't you agree?
Absolutely, Gisveer. Speaking is a crucial part of language learning. The more you practice, the more confident you become.
Do you have any tips for finding good conversation partners for English practice?
Well, joining language exchange groups or using language learning apps can be great. You get to connect with people who want to practice just like you.
Good point. And what about overcoming the fear of making mistakes when speaking in English?
It's normal to make mistakes, Gisveer. Remember, every mistake is a step towards improvement. So, embrace them.
I'll try to see my mistakes as my English teachers then. Speaking of teachers, do you have a favorite English teacher memory?
I remember my teacher's funny pronunciation of library. She said library, and we all giggled. Laughter makes learning memorable.
Laughter is the best teacher sometimes. Do you know any English jokes you'd like to share?
Sure. Here's one. Why did the math book look sad? Because it had too many problems.
That's a good one, Rita. Jokes like that can make language learning so enjoyable.
They certainly can, Gisveer. And remember, the more you practice speaking English, the more confident you'll become.
You're right, Rita. Let's keep practicing and laughing along the way. Rita, I've been wondering, are there any common mistakes people make when learning to speak English fluently?
Absolutely, Gisveer. One common mistake is trying to translate everything from your native language. It's better to think in English.
That makes sense. It's like a mental switch to become more fluent.
Exactly. Also, don't be afraid to use contractions like I'm, your, or there. They make your speech sound more natural.
That's a good tip. And what about pronunciation? Any common pitfalls to avoid?
Mispronouncing silent letters is a common mistake. Words like night or psychology have silent letters, so it's essential to practice these tricky words. Silent letters can be tricky indeed. And how can I improve my listening skills? You can start by listening to English podcasts, songs, and audiobooks. It's an enjoyable way to train your ears and understand different accents.
I'll create an English playlist today. Do you have any favorite English songs you'd recommend?
Oh, I have so many. Imagine by John Lennon and Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen are classics that you might enjoy.
Great choices, Rita! I'll add them to my playlist. By the way, do you know any tongue twisters in English?
I do. How about this one? She sells seashells by the seashore. It's a fun way to improve your pronunciation.
That's a classic. I'll practice it for sure. Thanks for the great suggestions, Rita.
You're welcome, Jasvir. Remember, the key to speaking English fluently and confidently is consistency and practice.
I'll keep that in mind. And I'm lucky to have such a knowledgeable friend to guide me on this journey.
Likewise, Jasvir. Let's continue to explore the English language together.
Rita, I've been thinking about the importance of cultural immersion in language learning. Do you agree that it can enhance our English speaking skills?
Absolutely, Jasvir. Immersing yourself in the culture helps you understand idioms, expressions, and social cues, making your conversations more authentic.
What are some cultural aspects you find fascinating about English-speaking countries?
I'm intrigued by the diversity of accents and regional slang. It's like learning multiple languages within one.
Accents can be quite colorful. And speaking of colors, do you have any favorite English expressions or idioms related to colors?
Oh, there are many. Green with envy, feeling blue, and rolling out the red carpet are some interesting ones.
Those are great. They add a layer of richness to the language. By the way, do you think watching English movies with subtitles is helpful for language learners?
It can be very helpful, especially when you're trying to understand fast-paced conversations or unfamiliar accents. It's like having a safety net.
A safety net is always reassuring. And do you have any favorite English movies that you think are a must-watch?
I love The Shawshank Redemption for its powerful storytelling and The Social Network for its fast-paced dialogues. They're both captivating.
Those sound like great recommendations, Rita. I'll add them to my watch list.
You'll enjoy them, Jasvir. And remember, the key is to enjoy the process of learning and discovering new things about the language and culture.
Thanks for the wise advice, Rita. I'm looking forward to our next English speaking practice session.
Me too, Jasvir. Let's continue our language journey with enthusiasm and curiosity.
Rita, spending this time talking about English learning has been so enjoyable. It feels like our language skills are blossoming.
I couldn't agree more, Jasvir. It's wonderful to have a language learning partner who shares the same enthusiasm.
You know, Rita, I've realized that language is not just about words, it's a gateway to understanding different cultures and perspectives.
That's beautifully put, Jasvir. Language learning opens doors to new worlds and connections.
Have you ever had an experience where language allowed you to connect with someone from a different background in a meaningful way?
I once traveled to a remote village where the locals spoke a language I didn't understand. But I learned a few words, and the smiles and gratitude we exchanged were priceless.
That's a heartwarming story, Rita. It shows the power of language in bridging gaps.
And speaking of bridging gaps, learning a new language also helps you bridge gaps within yourself, discover new facets of your identity.
That's an interesting perspective, Rita. Language learning is indeed a journey of self-discovery.
Jasveer, let's keep nurturing our passion for English and continue exploring the world through this beautiful language.
Absolutely, Rita. To our shared love for learning and the adventures that await us.